Radio Springfield City, here we are, the voice of Greater Springfield, and we couldn't speak to a bigger ambassador. Right here we've got a man who I've shared many adventures with, whether it's sleeping out for the homeless or whether it's giving coffee on Sunday community breakfast. Terry Slaughter, how are you, sir? Great to have you here.
It's a delight to be here for the first time, I might add.
I can't believe that you've said that. We might have to edit that bit out, but I know that you're here every Saturday on the golf course.
I'm looking at this place from a different view down every Saturday without fail.
And I've got to ask you this, Terry, since you're here every Saturday, what's your favourite hole on the golf course?
My favourite hole would have to be, believe it or not, it's 15. Now, it's one of the harder holes, and it just shapes nicely. It's one of those difficult holes for everybody else, but I just get a good feeling about it, and it's a pretty hole too. It's a great hole. Well, they're all magnificent. So.
Well, mate, though, yeah, it's interesting that you say that hole, because if you get that crack of the ball right, it's just a thing of beauty, isn't it?
It is.
Usually I don't, but anyway, that's a separate
Oh no,
story.
don't worry. I don't play it very well. I just like playing it.
I'm a big fan of the fifth hole. Very generous, par 3. You can't do
It's a
much
tough hole.
damage there.
It's a tough hole.
It is.
Yeah.
It's one of the only ones where I have the privilege of pulling out an iron, but I've got 2 kids, 5 and 8, so I don't get to play as much as I want.
Yeah.
But I am using them as a segue. They're starting to learn golf, which is really interesting, because I'm finding that a lot of parents are now transitioning to golf as opposed to full-on contact sports. And we are actually starting an initiative that I've started with the new general manager of the golf course, where we're giving everyone who's under 18, not just members and residents, everyone, if they've got a child under 18, they get to use our driving range completely for free. And that was inspired by the fact that, I'm not sure if you were there, but a couple of weekends ago we had Diwali Festival of Lights. We expected 1,000 people, 3,200 turned up, and they were all patting the dog and doing the light bulb. But it was an amazing event, and I think that I'm speaking to you. I don't have to talk to you too much about community spirit of this place. It's magical, Terry.
It is. And look, I play with a lot of members that have involved their family, and you know what, it becomes very much, well, I'm quite envious, because I wish I sort of had played out my the younger kids again, because it becomes quite a family event. And you've got mum and dad, and you've got the kids playing. On a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday morning. It's certainly become a part of their family life.
And it is a lifestyle thing, because I sneak in just a little bit of chipping in the morning before I come to work, and it's the one thing that I can get my kids away from their devices. So I'm standing here, and then my daughter, and then my son, and then they're just chipping away. And we've got the pro who's willing to take on kids for lessons on Sundays, which is really, really good. But Terry, your journey starts very, very many years ago, where we met at a community barbecue.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Before then, tell us, you started as a resident in Camira with you and your dear wife Frances, who's been a big part of the community endeavours as well. Tell us about that journey from Camira.
Well, I was just, as I said, I was just sort of reflecting many years ago. We never looked at Springfield as that's going to be, by the block. We sort of fell into it. It made me realise in my business life as well, as I said, we fell into it, bought the house. In fact, one of the very, very first houses that were pinned in Springfield.
Wow.
Big block, 1,000 square metre, corner block. You're not going to get many of those around. And it was great. And when the kids were growing up, and, the pool and everything else. It's probably big for us now because the kids are gone, but when the grandkids come over, it's great. So we evolved into this, and but we started to realise, and as I said before, wealth building wasn't all. It was what makes us feel part of a community.
And it was lifestyle, because I know that your kids, sorry to interrupt, but I know that your kids were in Western Spirit Football Club, and I was actually thinking about this when I was this morning, and I said, I've got to interview Tez, and you were telling me, and this is maybe 2 or 3 years ago, might have been longer, but your son was building with a dear friend of yours, Mark
Mark
Hancock's
Hancock,
son.
that's right.
And Mark Hancock built the first house in Greater Springfield.
Well,
I
there
mean,
you go.
how legacy is that?
Well, I'll add a bit more. So my eldest son, he went to year 1 at Woodcrest. So he started. He was the
first school.
First school. So he went to Woodcrest. He turned 30 the same year you guys turned 30.
Wow.
So and then as you just touched on, he a couple of years ago got Mark Hancock because he was. Obviously, it was Joel Hancock, Mark's son, as a builder, and they,
a great guy as well.
A great guy, yeah, and doing very well, and put the built a great house in Springfield, and so the legacy goes on.
Yeah.
And as you sort of indicated, sort of local soccer and just being part of the community, which I think it's a great place to bring up kids.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
It really is, because I think especially, and I love talking to people like you who have been here 30 years ago, because a lot of people you speak to now, they're saying, well, you know, this isn't here or that isn't here, and you just feel like giving them a shake and saying, mate, what about 30 years ago? There was nothing here.
We celebrated when McDonald's arrived. It was great. It was, look, you're right, and to see it grow, and it just grows. You go away for a few weeks and it continues to
literally
grow. And,
yeah.
It's just amazing. It's incredible.
And your IGA has been here since the early 2000s.
Well, it was originally a spa. So it was originally a spa store back in 2000. And I'm gonna say, I'm not sure. I'm gonna say 2005, something around that. And then it converted to an IGA. And then in 2012 we bought it off the owners that. Were there about 4 or 5 years, and we've been there. This is our 12th year.
Wow!
So, but it's just been amazing, and as I said, it's to be part of the Greater Springfield community down there. It's just amazing.
Well, I think, you know, Terry, we've done some great stuff together in terms of community and fundraising, and I know that I don't know how I managed it. I had a few kilos on me when I was doing the CEO sleep out, so I was more insulated perhaps than I am now. But you, Francis, and me did that, and I even remember you. It was so wonderful. You dropped me home, and I think I went to McDonald's pretty much after that because that was a hard night. But still, to this year upon year, I know that you contribute. You do the fireworks for the Christmas, which we'll be seeing next month. Amazing, and the turnout for that, Terry. I think people would be blown away.
I think it's really almost the the pinnacle of the year for Greater Springfield. It gets such a great turnout, and as I said, the combined churches put together that great pantomime show as well, and then capped off with the fireworks and that sort of thing. But you know, we certainly get a fair crowd to that. But that's just been part of our DNA for many years now. We've just done it because, you know, Naren, it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do, and it's our job.
Yeah.
We're almost I guess you could argue, you know, some I don't know, success comes in small. In different areas, but I guess if you're, you know, successful in business and you've done well out of business in the community, then you're obliged to step up and give back, and that's what we do.
Well, I don't think you're obliged to. I think good people like yourself and Francis do it because you feel like there is a duty, and I think that's what separates a lot of businesses who do it, because my father always said, if you want to do something, do it, but not to get your name up in lights. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. And that's what you and Francis do every single year. And I think people just certainly realize, well, Terry and Francis do that, so why not support them, as opposed to, whether that's a big business or a small business, it's just, and I was talking to Tony Russell earlier, and the same thing, he just came out of here, and the wealth came just because it was the right decision for him and his family and his business. And I think I've seen a few businesses do that, and I gave the example because I just love the guys when they arrived here. Two Butchers and Steve and Kenny. Steve, may he rest in peace, one of the original founders. And I was surprised that even though there was a butcher in Springfield, great guys, by the way, they contributed to the early days where we had the community barbecue. But Steve, there was just no putting it on Facebook or no doing it to get in the paper. Him and Kenny would go up to Vale and give all the mums, the seniors, roses. Happy Mother's Day, Mum, how you going? I mean, that's just what makes, in my opinion, Greater Springfield so different, because every time I leave here, I feel like I'm leaving the bubble.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what's going on? Where am I? I'm on the Centenary Highway. And, you know, even those community barbecues that we put together, you always said yes in terms of, actually you used to bring, this is before streaming and all the rest of it, but you had one of those big sound boxes that we used to bring.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Where you connected iPod to a charger that didn't change
music,
every 5 months.
The music didn't go down because it was my music, but that's okay. Yeah.
But, you know, like it just brought everyone together on a Sunday. And there was no motivation to sell land or do this or do that. It's just, and I literally know people who I'm friends with. I've actually emceed their wedding that I actually met down there. Yeah. And again, it's just about, I think this area is very, very unique. And I personally, I might be a bit biased, but I don't think it can be replicated, because there's something special that was planted here 32 years ago, that there were true believers. It was not seen as a property play. It's like, if we don't do something special with this land, it's going to be cut up into acreage and it's just going to stop at Richlands, or it's just going to stop at Ipswich. Yeah. And I always say, you know, there's some cities right now which are being cultivated to have massive Ferrari tracks or whatever it is. They're tourism cities. But then there's cities like New York which have been cultivated over 200 years, or Rome or stuff like. You can't duplicate that. You can't buy that history. And that's what makes it special.
Well, I think look, I've got to say, I think your dad's got a lot to do with that, mate, because the foundations were built on certainly education and health and obviously technology. You know, technology. There's your you know, your incubus right there. You know, it just flourishes from there, because that didn't stop. It wasn't a joke. He certainly, you know, we've delivered on health and we've delivered on schools. We've got plenty of schools rolling around, and you know, this is where it becomes such an attraction. It almost becomes a bit of a secret. You almost feel like saying, you know, I don't want to tell too many people about it.
I feel exactly the same.
I want to keep it to myself, you know, because
this is our community kind of thing.
Stop it.
But even I tell Priya when we drive home, we had Halloween, and I'm not sure if you know, but Halloween is epic here. It just goes off, and Christmas is the same thing, and it's you know, even the Springfield Christmas, I think I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And you know, a few years ago, I don't know how they did it, but they got me on one of those camel, and they got me as one of the three wise men. Obviously, they couldn't find anyone. All the real wise men were busy.
They had me, but there was a weight restriction. So you're gonna have to ring a couple of scrawny guys to jump on.
Well, we did the weight loss challenge together. I remember at the Chimera and Community Centre, and before that, we stopped off at Macca's. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we dropped 500 grams between us. I think it was a fair effort.
It was, but it was one of those things that, you know. And speaking of the Chimera Community Centre, you got a person, such a good soul, Phil Cutcliffe. I mean, and I remember when my father told me the story about Phil. He had, I think, a $200 deposit for a block of land, and this is in the 90s. And my father said to him, he said, "I'm going to take that because I think that you're going to do something special to this area." And look what Phil does. He does it hourly, daily, monthly.
See, and therein lies the seed, if you like, of what, you know. Your dad saw a seed in Phil, and he knew that you know, this was gonna work. And took a bet. Yep. I'm not sure whether he accept 200 now. In fact,
if he does, I'll take 5.
Yes.
But I think that, you know, it is like I was saying about Priya and I, when we go through our streets to where we are now, and even at Christmas time, we can count the amount of decorative lights or decorations outside the houses on one hand. And that's why I just don't think that this could be duplicated, because it's the heart and soul of the people who are here. And I'll tell you a story that actually, I would argue a handful of people only know this about my father. When he wanted to get the Mater here for the private hospital, we're very blessed now that the public is under construction, but his mother had breast cancer and had one of her breasts removed, and then my auntie, who was a doctor, she passed away of breast cancer. So the Mater tried, first time failed, second time failed, third time failed, fourth time, and at a point they said, look, we're the Mater, we don't have to go, begging to get these bed licenses. And that was the actual reason my father said, we're going to give it one more red hot crack. Wow. A lot of people think that it was a development play, but they actually don't realize that that was the seed in him that said, we have to have this, because his mother passed away at a time where it was almost that time where Springfield was going under, and he had about a month, and he actually could not afford to go and see his mother, and so she passed away when she was kind of strapped to a bed, and she was she had lost her mental capacity, and so that was the real reason why the Mater Private Hospital was so important to him. And even having the public hospital under construction now, I personally think, Terry, people are yet to appreciate and fully grasp the importance of that. Maternity, emergency, and ICU in this area in 3 years' time. That is going to service a lot of babies. 100%. And there's something about the Greater Springfield area, they love having babies, so we got to accommodate for them.
Yeah.
And I literally tell people there's very few places where, and I'm fascinated to hear that your boy was the first year, because I remember my father telling me that they told him, you don't need a school here. You won't even get 150 kids. And apparently 300 kids turned up on the first day. And here we are, 22 childcare centers later, 2 universities. University of Queensland is here. I'm not sure if a lot of people know that. And we've got 12 schools and more growing all the time.
Yeah.
And I think as the father of a daughter, it gives me tremendous bliss, and I feel so much blessings about the fact that we've got the first national women's sporting stadium right here in Greater Springfield.
And what a magnificent area. It's just such a and the people of Springfield have embraced it as their own.
They loved it.
And as I said, it's just and when it's lit up at night, it's just amazing. It's just a beacon.
It's beautiful, and you're right. The community, and I have to give it to the Lions. They have done a really good job in engaging with the community. And a few weeks ago, they had a community day, and my daughter and son came down here. The players were engaging. It was fantastic. And again, this is something that I think we were told no about 7 years ago, and now that it's happened. But I think the one thing about the Greater Springfield community that, and I don't like comparing it to other suburbs or anything like that, but whenever my wife sends me out for bread and milk, she thinks I should be back in 15 minutes. 2 hours and 15 minutes later, she goes, where were you? And she has suspicions about where I was. But, I just say, I was at Orion, and I happened to bump into about 10 or 15 people. And I love that, because if I go to other shopping centers, I'm having anxiety about getting a car park and going in there and feeling like I'm just chucked in a bunch of sardine
I can fix
cans.
that for you. You can just duck down to the IGA.
Well, that's a place. That's the thing. And I've got to tell you, remember when I was vegan, Terry, and I was telling you, you've got to get Gardein, and you actually, within a few months, you got it.
Months.
It's
it
there.
Weeks.
It was weeks. So, I mean, what are the plans, Terry, for you? I mean, you're obviously blessed with some grandchildren now.
Yeah. Look, my plans are to get better at golf, and I'm having every crack at that. So every Saturday I'm down here doing my best. And
what time do you tee off?
Oh, we're pretty early. I mean, and it's a bit of a hustle to get the early spots too. I liken it to getting tickets to Taylor Swift. So, but some of
Didn't know you were a Taylor Swift fan, mate.
Some of the savvy internet browsers will get on there pretty quickly, but you just got to be quick off the mark when the timesheet gets released and those sorts of things, which goes with every normal successful golf club, if you like, in today's world.
And just so you know, if you book online, you get 5% off.
We've got our bookings on Saturday, so away we go. So
yeah, good luck. And well, we've got a great GM now in Patrick Young, and I think he's fantastic. We're very excited. William Wallace Group are going to be the new restaurateurs there.
And they're doing a great job. I mean, it's just
the
amazing.
Menu, how different is it?
The menu's amazing.
If I have to recommend something for all our viewers and listeners out there, the duck confit is the dish to go to, and it's pretty easy on the belly too, which is why I try and have it. But I mean, to think, again, one of the top 5 catering companies in Brisbane having a presence out here, absolutely unbelievable. You've been here many years, Terry. Fondest memory. It's hard to pin down one, I know, but even if you had to say 3.
Okay, well, you know what? I will pick a situation that was it was a bit tough actually, because it was that hailstorm.
Yes.
But you know what? As tough as that was, and that wiped out a good part of Springfield.
Serious part.
But and look, there are still probably houses today that are serving a few scars of those. But the community was amazing, amazing. You know, it was almost as if, okay, let's get this done, and that just showed the community spirit.
Absolutely.
I remember we were trucking chickens and all sorts of things across to the YMCA that night. Because people just couldn't cook meals, they didn't have a house to go to, and they didn't have anywhere to sleep that night. They actually slept in there.
Really?
So it was just devastating. And you know, we're not talking about adults here that could probably push through those. We're talking about people with small families that probably just had nowhere to go, no family, or friends that they could stay with overnight. So that was a tough many months. In fact, in some cases, years. But it was a real true testament as saying, you know what, we can deal with the worst, and we'll get through this. And so some really incredible
and that was tough,
moments.
Terry. It literally destroyed, I would say, thousands of homes.
Yeah. So I mean, that was certainly up there. Look, we had a park named after us a few years ago, and you know, of all the things that you could receive in your life, that's really up there, mate. That's really up there, and I appreciate, you know, the council for putting forward the nomination, and obviously
that's going to be there forever for your children.
That's
for
exactly
your
right, and it's a great party trick. In fact, you know, you can go onto Google Maps and just type in the name, and bang, it's there. It's not going to go away, and I was quite chuffed with that, and very humbled, and we're still very humbled by it. You know, like, it's just one of those things that we're very proud to be part of this great community, and we can almost say that we're always going to be part of this great community, because we've got something there that is going to be.
That's your legacy.
Exactly.
For the slaughter.
So, I'd probably just pin it on the carols, mate, because the carols by candlelight for us is a true. I mean, it's a great time of the year. My wife loves Christmas. Loves Christmas.
We've already got the tree up, mate. So
she has.
We have too. I argue with my wife. I want it done by October, and she says, "Look, November's the compromise, but we're Christmas fiends. We absolutely love it."
So, you know, like, because it's that time of the year, we just love that event. And as I said, we will just continue to support it, because, as I said, it's part of our DNA now. We can't not support it. So,
and I have to say to all our listeners, Terry and Francis do donate for the fireworks every single year, and it is a magical display. It goes for at least 8 minutes, doesn't it? 5 to 8 minutes. I mean, I can just watch it forever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It does go. I get lost in it anyway. So, beautiful. But it's pretty amazing. So,
and I would say the last one, Terry, that you would definitely remember, and I think all of our listeners would, the floods. The floods. I mean, of course, it affected Brisbane, but Goodna, you know, the surrounding areas, and I just saw people like you getting out there, volunteering, forgetting about their own business, forgetting about timelines, people up to sludge, up to and it was just a frightening memory that I hope we don't have to recall.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and a great testament of a community is to help out community in the crisis, the hail, but also have a look at neighbouring communities that might be struggling, and that's exactly what we thought. We said, no, we need those guys need help, and they definitely did. I'll tell you a funny story. Milton Dick, who's a good mate of mine, and he was down there amongst it with his high vis on, and looking the goods, and so was Charisse and Nicole, Jonik, all the counsellors. They were amazing during that period. Anyway, I went down there as my second trip of the day, or of the week. Kept on going down, checking your water. Do you need food? Do you need this? Do you need that? Whatever. Here's some vouchers. And Milton said, mate, I just need wheelbarrows. And I said, okay, wheelbarrows. Where am I going to get wheelbarrows from? Okay, let me think about it. I'm going away. I think Raina might have organised some wheelbarrows from
Bunnings.
From Bunnings or something. I said, well, I'm not going to Bunnings, but you know what? IGA, okay, no, we can get them from Mitre 10. So I made a couple of calls, and within a couple of hours, I kid you not, I had about 20 wheelbarrows. Now, here's the funny thing, and I took them down and I delivered them down to Milton, and I said, here they are, they're on the back of the ute there, Milton, but they're all flat packed. Good luck, I've got to go. So he said,
That's
so
hilarious.
what am I going to do? So Milton's not, I don't think Milton's ever had a spanner in his hand in his life. But he arranged one of the Tees guys to put them all together. But it's
I
just
didn't
amazing.
even know the wheelbarrows came flat packed.
Well, they do. Yeah, they do. Well, I say flat packed. They came in bits, so they were certainly a mission to put together.
Well, we have one of our dear residents in Brookwater, Jason Van Eden, who actually is very senior up in Bunnings. So whenever we need wheelbarrows or something like that, he's done. When do you need it?
Well, I know Jason. So
do you? Yeah. So we had the Father's Day challenge, and we got a wheelbarrow full of goods. So Jason just said, again, when do you need it? And fantastic. Wouldn't go up against him in golf, but definitely.
He's handy. No, it was just truly, as I said, another community that's not far from here.
Yep.
That needed our help, and away we went. And I think a lot of people that we don't know about, that weren't recognised, certainly chipped in at that time.
Well, Terry, I always say, and you might have heard me say it in a few of my speeches, but I break down the word community, and this is just me. Common unity. That whether you're in the Greater Springfield area or not, we're all someone's child. We all want a job that we like. We want friends. And there's just a few common threads, and the floods really taught me that, and I think it taught a lot of people. Doesn't matter where you live, everyone deserves to be safe. And that gave, I think even things like COVID, it's given us great things. It's given, I have another saying that I love, sometimes the best gifts in life come badly wrapped. And COVID, for me, it gave me perspective and hope.
I think it reset a lot of people's, I thought it reset humanity, because almost, we're always sort of compelled to sort of lock ourselves down in our house. And I said to our wives, it's not that bad staying at home on a Friday night. And then we came up with different trivia nights with friends and family on this amazing thing called Zoom. And as I said, it just reset everybody's perspective. We said, you know what? We're just busy being busy, but let's just embrace the people that are close around you. And you're right, community is everything. Yeah.
Terry, thanks very much for your time, and I'm going to come over and get some of those vegan products, even if I don't need them. Appreciate you, and I appreciate Francis and the whole Slaughter family for what they do for our community. Good on you, Terry.
You're more than welcome. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.